Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Plug. I am your host, Xavier Williams, with my co-host, Ishmael. Welcome back,
Well,
Ish. Appreciate you.
yep. Thank you, sir, for having me.
All right, you already know if you are a first-time watcher, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Sports Plug. If you are watching on Twitter, my Twitter handle is xwilliams81. Please make sure you check that out. And if you are watching on Facebook, please make sure you like and share. Also, if you're going to be listening to the podcast, make sure that you leave some comments for our podcast channel if you ever want to, of course, communicate with me and Ish. Of course, the reason why you guys are here is for the NFL Week 4 recap. That's what we are here for. That's what we're going to get right into with Thursday Night Football, Broncos and Jets. Let's be real, Ish. When that game got presented to us, it wasn't one of the
Yeah,
games that I'm pretty sure everybody wanted to watch, but it ended up being a pretty decent game. It really did.
it did. It was a lot better than I expected. I was really thinking it was going to be really boring, and at first it kind of seemed like it was headed that way, but really it turned out to be a good game. Sam Darnold, bruh, when that man went down, I swore, and Kaylee was watching it with me too. I thought he broke his collarbone, and then he came back out, and I was like, okay, maybe he's good. And now I'm hearing he's not going to play this week. So, maybe it was very more serious than they initially thought. So that could play into them not being able to come back. But it was a pretty good game. I'm not high on either team. So,
Yeah, I mean, it was a game that somebody had to win. Both teams going in 0-3, and I think it showed. Quarterback Brett Rippon, he played really well. 19 for 31, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. He had a situation where he had back-to-back picks on back-to-back drives, and that it looked like the Broncos are about to go into a little bit of offensive meltdown, but they ended up pulling that game out, and of course leading the way was Melvin Gordon with 23 carries, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Hey, as long as you keep on pounding that rock, good things will happen for you on the offensive side of the ball. So we'll see what happens with the Broncos moving forward. They are 1-3, playing a very, very tough division. I don't see
man.
them, contending in that division. But
Hey,
uh,
but the one bright side is they don't have Philip Lindsay right now, and that's Melvin Gordon by himself. So think about when they got that 1-2 punch back. I mean, that could help them a lot. Young quarterback, having good running game, that goes a long way. So when Philip Lindsay comes back, I'd be interested to see if it helps them to continue to go in the right direction, or if they take a step backward.
no, I definitely agree. And of course, playing in Denver, that definitely gives you a home field advantage over everybody.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's go on to our next game: Jaguars versus Bengals. This was, of course, the beard versus. Nope, not my bad. This was last week. I apologize. My bad. That was the beard versus the mustache. That's my bad. This was the mustache versus the no facial hair. Young Joe Burrow making his first win of the season. Because of course last week they tied with the Eagles. They easily could have pulled off a dub against the Eagles, but it looks like young Joe Burrow finally got his dub against the struggling Jacksonville Jaguars.
He did.
How did Joe Burrow look to you in this game?
I mean, to be honest, all season he has looked pretty good. He has looked like a guy that's not scared of the moment, ready to go. He comes out, he makes plays, and once again he did it. I was surprised. I'm not surprised at how well he played because honestly he hasn't played poorly. But I was surprised at how poorly the Jaguars played. I mean, I
Yeah.
actually had some high expectations for the Jaguars. I expected them to come in and win this game. I thought they were going to win this game pretty easily because I was thinking they were going to challenge Tennessee for the AFC South. We know how Houston's doing right now. But I thought they were going to step in and be the challenger in AFC South. But right now, it is not looking good for them.
Yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars started off pretty hot, of course, that first week win, and I think Jacksonville faithful kind of thought that, hey, we don't need, the crybaby guys that we first had here. Let's roll with Minshew. But after 4 weeks being 1-3, you know, they're kind of coming back down to reality and kind of seeing that their team isn't as good as they thought it was after that first week. So for them, they have to play this season out, see how things go, and see if maybe Gardner Minshew is their franchise quarterback going forward. Another thing I want to add, just like we talked about the game before, Joe Mixon with 25 carries, 151 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Hey, that definitely does help out a young quarterback when it comes to running the ball very effectively when you're running game, being able to, open up the football field for a young quarterback like Joe Burrow.
That's right.
Yes, sir. All right, another game that I definitely kept an eye out on because I picked the Browns to win this game. I don't know about everybody out there. I did
Wow.
because, and that wasn't the only game that I picked. That was a upset alert. We'll get to that later on in the show. But the reason why I picked the Browns was because I honestly felt like the Cowboys was going to come out in a lackluster performance like they did. And for some reason, I just felt like OBJ was going to have a good game, and he did. He really did. It seemed like every time he touched the ball, something magical happened. Of course, on that reverse, being able to take it to the house, and also getting a touchdown pass from his homeboy Jarvis Landry.
Oh yeah,
Jarvis with a beautiful left-handed throw to OBJ. It seems like for now, after 4 weeks, the Browns have a little bit of mojo, and they're going to ride it again. For now, like I will say, and this is before this season started, the first 4 weeks of the season for me is still preseason. Now let's just imagine this season going in and they didn't have any preseason. So a lot of these guys are still trying to get acclimated on both sides of the ball. So even with the Cowboys, with how terrible that division is, the NFC least right now, they still have an opportunity to win that division. So the Browns, I feel like the Browns needed that win a lot more than the Cowboys needed. That's another reason why I picked the Browns to win that game.
To be honest with you, I can see why you would choose the Browns. I, on the other hand, I thought the Cowboys were going to win this game only because, man, this offense is flying. I mean, you couldn't ask for an offense to come out and do more than what they have been doing. I mean, other than maybe Seattle, I don't know of an offense that has consistently come out week in, week out and done what they've done so far. And to be 1-3, I mean, I don't know, man. It's rough. I think that they are the team to beat in the NFC East only because if the offense continues in the way that they're going, really, they just need the defense to step up. They got to figure something out on the defense side of the ball, and then they could be a scary team. But, I mean, that's a lot easier said than done. My hat's off to the Browns. The Browns came out. They did what they needed to do. They did set the tone early. And, I mean, man, if this offense continues. Now, Nick Chubb did get hurt, and they're saying he's on IR. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks.
With a torn MCL, yes, he's out.
That is going to be, I mean, now there are very few teams that have a number 2 runner like the Browns in Kareem Hunt, who led the league in rushing a couple years ago. So let's be honest, it's not really a step back. You got a really good guy that's going to step in. It's just going to be, is he going to be able to carry that load and really do it now that he is the sole guy? I mean, before he was kind of spelling Nick Chubb. Now he's got to step in and be that guy. Is he going to do that? We're going to have to wait and see.
And, that's things that, of course, we will have to, like you said, wait and see around week 7, week 8 to see how the Browns are looking. Because 3-1 looks good now, but when you're 4-4, 3-1 don't, it doesn't matter anymore. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Same thing with the Cowboys, man. Even at week 8, they could still be under 500 and still be in contention to win the division. So, hey, that's fun. Football is a funny game.
I think they will.
And they really can. So it's gonna be a long season. We have to see week by week with the Cowboy faithful. So we'll see with that one.
Oh.
Saints and Lions. This was a very interesting game because the Lions actually got out to a 14-0 lead in the beginning of this game. I picked the Saints to win this game. Not because of Drew Brees. Not because I was expecting Drew Brees to throw for 400 yards. Not because of that, honestly. Just because I honestly still don't have any faith in the Lions yet. Even though they won their first game of the season, they were really high. And as you can see, they've 0-3 as well ever since they won their first game, kind of like Jacksonville. And even though Matt Stafford does what he does when it comes to putting up stats, 3 touchdowns, 206 yards, and a pick, the defense still can't stop anybody. And I don't know about you, but it seems like the Lions team is kind of doing the same thing the Texans team doing with Bill O'Brien when it comes to not listening, doing their own thing, and pretty much giving up on Patricia.
I can see what you're saying, and potentially, I think it might be that situation. But I want to ask you, I mean, at what point do we trade Matt Stafford? Do we? I mean, is it that time to like try to just rebuild? Do you think like it's gotten to that point in Detroit?
Well, the way the Texans are when it comes to a franchise that have people coming to have their careers die, that is what the Detroit Lions are when it comes to the North, as in Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, and it could be the same with Matt Stafford. Let's remember Matt Stafford got paid a couple of years ago, and I want to say about 3 or 4 years ago, to where he's very comfortable with his $100 million contract, because if he had a problem, let's be real, we would definitely hear his name on the trade wire when it comes to maybe making a move. I don't see Matt Stafford leaving anytime soon, because I just think he's that guy in Detroit when it comes to whatever he wants, he can get, no matter if it's a 7-9 season every year for the rest of his career. And the Lions are not about trading their star players, as we've seen in the past, for whatever they want. You know, Barry Sanders, again, is the main person when it comes to asking for a trade to get out of the situation. Guys would rather just retire.
Yeah,
so,
but I mean, it's a really bad situation. Let me just read this off for you real quick.
Yes, sir.
Like you said, they got up to a 14-0 lead in the first quarter, right?
And you're about to read off how many games in a row they've lost by double-digit leads, I'm assuming?
Oh, no, not that one.
Oh, okay.
Let's not rub it into the Lions fans.
I'm just saying.
But I was going to read off for you. Adrian Peterson, 11 carries, 36 yards, 1 touchdown. DeAndre Swift, who you went and drafted and expected to come in and make a noise, 4 carries, 22 yards. The next leading rusher for them, so the third most,
Matt Stafford, huh? Yep, see, I knew it.
3 carries, 21 yards, and then you got Kerryon Johnson, 3 carries, 9 yards.
And Kerryon Johnson was supposed to be their main back before Adrian Peterson got there. So what's going on?
What is going on? That is my question. What is going on in Detroit? The fact that Adrian Peterson got signed as a free agent, has to come in, leads your backfield in carries, 11 carries, only 36 yards, and the guy you drafted this year, he only gets 4 touches? Like, really? He got 4 carries, but he got 4 pass receptions as well for 30 yards and a touchdown. But something is wrong with that offense in Detroit. Something's wrong with the team, period. I think Patricia, at this point, there are a couple coaches that I know probably going to be going soon. Dan Quinn being one in Atlanta, but definitely Patricia in Detroit.
Adam Gase in New York.
Oh, yeah.
So the clock is ticking. Trust me, we're gonna have a coach watch real soon on some of these coaches about to get up out of here real soon. Now, another thing I want to add to as well, like you said with the Lions, I'm not trying to rub it in on the Lions, but we'll get past this real soon. You're up by 14 points in the first quarter. So as an offensive coordinator or even a head coach, what is your mindset going into the next drive? If I'm just going to give you my advice or my perspective on things to do, is you would think you would want to start establishing a run, milk the clock, get your offense into a more physical groove running the ball. So then you already know you have a guy that can throw the ball 40 times a game. The passing game isn't a problem. You're up by 14 points on a team that can score points like that, even though they don't have their number one receiver in the game. Yet you, I guess, decide, because I didn't watch the game in its entirety, so I'm not about to sit here and act like I knew exactly what was going on. But from what I've seen, again, if you have Matt Stafford throwing the ball, what is 31 times, which really isn't that bad. It really isn't. But you have altogether carries wise, what, 22 carries? It also sounds like, too, y'all didn't get enough offensive plays in.
Nope,
You
not at
know,
all.
why are you not getting the carries that these running backs need to establish a running game to be able to open up the path for Matt Stafford to make the game easier for him? So again, that's something that Detroit is going to have to figure out on the offensive side of the ball moving forward because hey, they play in that division with the Bears, the Vikings, and the Packers. So we'll see. And also, again, before we go on, remember the Lions as an organization said the reason why they got rid of Jim Caldwell is because they wanted to get better moving forward with Matt Patricia. So,
Oh, that's worked out.
so let's move forward. All right, the Seahawks and the Dolphins. Very good game. That was actually a really close game throughout the whole game until the Seahawks finally broke it open a little bit. They had a 2-possession lead until the Dolphins cut it short with a touchdown pass late in the game by Fitzmagic. As we saw, hey, Russell Wilson is still out there chefing it up. 24 for 34, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Miami is a very tough team on both sides of the ball. They played a difficult schedule so far the first 4 weeks, so we'll see what happens with Miami. I think they'll be okay. But Seattle, they look like they are one of the teams to beat in the NFC so far.
Seattle's the real deal. I mean, if anybody had questions on whether or not they're the real deal, they're the real deal. They are coming back out strong. They're sending the message. They are letting Russ, throw the ball around the field. That is something that they're not used to doing. I mean, let's be honest. The years where they were going to the Super Bowl, they were run heavy.
Marshawn Lynch.
What was going to happen? I mean, the pass was rare. A lot of slants and goes. Now they got him out there rolling left and right, making plays. This is definitely a team to fear. They are playing good defense. With Russell Wilson actually using the weapons he has. Not to mention they do have Josh Gordon on the sideline. They did sign him. They're waiting for him to be reinstated. So that is another weapon that potentially joins that crew. I mean, my goodness.
DK Metcalf and Josh Gordon. Woo!
That is a lot, man. So they're a real deal. But I don't want to overlook Miami. What Brian Flores has done down there in Miami, a lot of people joking and playing with Miami, talking about how they losing this stuff. They do have Tua on the sideline. Now, they came out with reports saying that they're still going to start Fitzpatrick, which I don't have a problem with that. I think you let Tua sit as long as possible. Even if you can get through the whole season with him sitting, maybe he plays like the last game of the season, I'm fine with that. But they got 2 first-round picks in 2021 from the Texans.
Houston Texans, yep.
So, including their first-round pick, they are a team to watch out for. They're getting better. As bad as they have been, they show signs. They beat the Patriots. I think last year they beat them. So they are a team that they can pull some games from people. They can make some noise. We need to be on the lookout. Not this year. I'm not saying this year. I'm saying moving forward.
Yes, the Dolphins like to spoil the Patriots when they come to Miami. The Dolphins still can't get that win going to Foxborough just yet, but it seems like every time the Patriots come to Miami, they have a little too much fun on that Saturday night and end up losing that game. It is what it is, but the Dolphins, I agree with you. They definitely play hard for 4 quarters, and they are in every game that they are in. And they make sure if you are going to beat them, they make sure that you earn that win against the Dolphins. And I also will say this as well. I think this is year 1 of the building blocks that we'll see Miami, getting better year in and year out. Because like you said, they have 2 first-round picks next year. And with the team that they are building right now, it's all about establishing an identity on both sides of the ball and also about recruiting for the future. That's what I see in Miami.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get to the next game, the Chargers versus the Buccaneers. I don't know did you watch this game? Because I did.
I did. I watched this game.
Okay, yeah. So this was a lot better game than I was thinking this was going to be at first. I wasn't expecting for it to be a shootout like this, but Justin Herbert, hey, welcome to the NFL, young buck.
I'm sorry to say this. Man, Tyrod, I like you. You
I do too, but
I root for you. Unfortunately, your team doctor has cost you your starting position moving forward. You will not reclaim that starting position. I don't care what happens. Tyrod Taylor has lost that position. Justin Herbert has come out after being thrown into basically the fire because he did not prepare as the starter when Tyrod went out 2 weeks ago. Came in, played a pretty good game against the Chiefs, played a good game last week. And I mean, he has been balling. He is not like Joe Burrow. I think he has also stepped in. Does not look like he's scared of the fire. Doesn't look like he's scared to play. He's making some throws. I mean, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. He's looking good. He kept them in the game. I thought they were going to win the game. Really, their defense let them down because Tom Brady. I guess maybe it was Tom Brady magic. Maybe I just don't care for Tom Brady, but. Sure, whatever.
Those little Tom Brady magic. You gotta give a little credit where credit is due. I mean, hey, 30 for 46, 369, 5 touchdowns and a pick. Because in the beginning of that game, yes, Brady did look like old Brady at first when it comes to maybe we need to get him up out of there. I ain't talking about up out of the game, but go ahead and, maybe he need to get up out of the league. He might be done, but he found OJ Howard on a beautiful seam route and wide open. Unfortunately, OJ Howard will probably be out for the season with an Achilles injury, so that'll be something to watch for Tampa Bay fans on the offensive side of the ball. But when it comes to the balls that he was throwing, I mean, Brady looked on point. I mean, he really looked pretty good. I mean, the running game with Jones, 20 carries, 111 yards. Once the defense really comes along, Tampa Bay and the Saints in the NFC South, they are going to be competing for that division. Why are you making that face? You don't think Tampa Bay can really compete for that division?
I mean, I would say they're not as strong as contenders as people were making them out to be at the beginning of the season. I mean, I know when he first joined and, all these vets started going to Tampa Bay, everybody was like, oh, Super Bowl, Super Bowl.
And let's
looked okay.
Let's talk about Shady McCoy. You talk about the vets. Let's talk about Shady right quick because Shady don't look like Shady right now. So that was another vet that people was like, oh look, they got Shady. That wasn't one of them. You look a little old there. All right, but we lay you Shady, but hey, it might be time to hang him up there.
Yeah.
All right, Ravens versus Washington football team. I love the old school name. Old school with nothing on there. Of course, Ravens won this game 31-17. This was not one of my upset picks. I definitely picked the Ravens because I was not fooling around with this one. Mm-hmm. Hey, same old. Lamar does what he does and run around and be athletic and, won this game. The only thing I'm going to say about this is the only thing. I know people are going to hate me for it. People are going to say I'm a hater of Lamar Jackson. It's fine. I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. This is what I don't want to see. This is what I'm tired of seeing. I'm tired of seeing Lamar Jackson highlights of him running the ball for a touchdown. I'm tired of it. I really am. He is a quarterback. I'm not saying that he can't do it with his feet. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you look at highlights of Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson, they're throwing the ball. They use their feet to escape. They use their feet to extend the play, Ish, and you know this. Know this, sir. And you know this. Okay, it's all right. You can shake your head all you want to. The facts are the facts. The highlights are the highlights. We could go look at the highlights. 9 out of 10 times his highlights are running the ball for a score. Okay, it's not throwing the ball. It's running the ball. But it's okay though. I want to see him when he makes a beautiful pass against the Chiefs and is able to win games against the Chiefs, the Tennessee Titans in the playoffs, and other really good teams in the AFC, then I can put him in that category for right now. It's only three guys. It's only three guys. Russell Wilson, Mahomes, and Aaron "that man" Rodgers.
Dude, you lost me on that one. Okay, let me just
I'm listening.
He won the game, right? Fair enough to say he won the game. Once again, he has his team up there. They've only lost to who? The Super Bowl defending champions, Kansas City Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
3-1. So he's doing the things that he needs to do. He is throwing the ball around. He's making plays with his arm. The other people you named are not the kind of athletes that Lamar Jackson is. Like, come on.
what you're saying, that's
Michael Vick to some of those people. Like they are not the same in the same class as Lamar Jackson. So the fact that he is making the plays with his legs, he's doing that because he can. They can't do that. Mahomes, for as athletic as he is, as athletic as Russell Wilson is, neither one of them can make the plays that Lamar can with their legs.
So my question is to you is, can Lamar make the same plays that Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes can with their arm?
He can, just not as consistent. And that, to be honest,
time will tell, sir.
That's the problem with him, right? Consistency is key because a lot of teams, when it comes to playoff times, how they're going to test that defense,
stop that run.
They're going to stack the box and they're going to make him beat him with his arm. Now, is he going to be consistent enough to do that? That's another question. But that is really what has been his Achilles heel, I would say, is he makes the throws sometimes and then other times he doesn't make the throws. But I'm not saying he's not capable of making the throws. He can make those throws. He just has to be consistent with it enough to where the defense will not stack the box against him and those running backs that they got. The one thing I did want to note about this game, though, there were reports about Dwayne Haskins possibly feeling the fire about being replaced.
And I want to talk about that, too. I'm happy you brought that up.
Yeah, let me just say this. 32 for 45, 314 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Okay, pretty bland, but dude, he has a rookie running back and some other people that were free agents that not a ton of people really wanted, and he got one receiver,
a second-year wide receiver.
So, I mean, what are you expecting this man to do? The fact that is the situation, let me just say there's a double standard for a certain type of quarterback. I'm not going to go any further into that.
We know what you're talking about. We know what you're talking
about. And it is a sign of a situation that anybody who has been in sports, if you've played a sport, especially at a higher level, I'm talking about college, in the professional ranks, when a new coach comes in, trust me, they're going to clean house and go with their guys. And the fact that they brought, what's his name in?
Ron Rivera.
Who's the quarterback?
Kyle Allen.
The fact that they brought him in there, I already knew the writing was on the wall. Trust me, it is against Dwayne Haskins. He is not meant to succeed in Washington. Kyle Allen's probably going to be taking over soon because Rivera is going to go with his guy. That's it.
Yes, and it's unfortunate that you say that. Now, one thing I don't think that you're saying is that Ron Rivera, because remember, he is Hispanic and his main guy was Cam Newton back for the Panthers. Nobody is saying that. Nobody's saying that they want Kyle Allen ahead of Dwayne Haskins because he's white. No, that's not what nobody's saying at all. No, that's not what anybody's saying. What we are, of course, alluding to is that it is unfortunate for a guy like Dwayne Haskins, who I think coming out of Ohio State as a pure quarterback, I think he's actually been probably the best quarterback to come out in a while. I think he's better than Cardale Jones. I think he's better than I know there's another quarterback I can't think off the top of my head. Besides Terrell Pryor, there's another quarterback. There's another quarterback I can't think of off the top of my head. Braxton. So there's other quarterbacks that play for Ohio State that I feel like Dwayne Haskins might be the best out of all of them, and he's actually playing pretty decently. But for him not to get the opportunity to get better through the adverse times, because let's remember Peyton Manning went 1-15 his rookie year. You know, they put everything in the stable for him to make sure that he could succeed in the future. But is Washington going to do that for Dwayne Haskins? We highly doubt that, because what it already seems like, and like you said, the writing's on the wall to already, if not Kyle Allen, then there's already going to be somebody else. And it seems like the Washington football team has been like this when it comes to a quarterback carousel for a while now.
Can we talk about how they set RG3 up? I mean, you draft RG3 number 2, and then you go and draft Kirk Cousins in the 4th round again
to compete against each other to get the best quarterback. I've never heard of that before ever. That whole situation was just, it just makes you shake your head, because Washington as an organization tried to make us look stupid for pointing out the obvious. And the only people that looked stupid at the end of the day was the Washington's organization.
And it will be Washington again because you drafted this guy. He didn't have any weapons around him. Still doesn't have any weapons around him. That would be like the Jets talking about Sam Darnold and
Yes, and that's another person I was thinking of.
Yes, in the same situation. We mentioned it last week. I think it was when we were reviewing it that he doesn't have the weapons. So I mean, could you make a case for moving on from him? Possibly, but really, is it fair?
It's Adam Gase. You got to start off with Adam Gase if you're the New York Jets. Look, if you're the Jets, it's easier to get rid of a coach than it is to get rid of a franchise quarterback. We don't even know if Sam Darnold is a franchise quarterback yet because he hasn't been put in opportunities to succeed to be looked at as a franchise quarterback yet. So, some of these organizations, what really messed up is honestly some of these organizations, they know they're going to make a profit, win or lose. So it's like, why do we care anyways about really winning if we know we're going to make an extra $500 million this year? But at the end of the day, people are not going to cry about athletes. The athletes make millions of dollars, as people would say. So, they have it better than us. So they're not going to cry and complain. So let's get on with this next topic and whatnot. I'm sorry, you guys, we had to extend that one a little bit, but then we had to talk about that one a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Cardinals and Panthers. Now, this was actually one of my unfortunate wrong picks because apparently the Carolina Panthers wanted to play this weekend or last weekend for some reason. I was not expecting for them to show up, but apparently they did. And the Cardinals, what are y'all doing? Kyler Murray, stats-wise, I guess we dinking and dunking 24 for 31, 133 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like, the touchdowns, the completions, that's cute and all, but 133 yards, that ain't the Kyler Murray I know. And you only put up 21 points. Like, what's going on in Arizona?
Cliff Kingsbury, I'm looking right at you. I'm looking at you, Cliff, because I gave you a hard time last season. When they hired you, I said you didn't deserve it because you came from a mediocre program in a mediocre conference, and you didn't even have a winning record. You came out hot. I started to back off of that, and you have completely turned it around yet again. Cliff Kingsbury, come on, man. I mean, the whole point, I would rather you go out and score 50-something and lose because your defense is terrible than to have the offense come out and only score 21. I know it's the NFL. I know it's not easy to just score points like that. But when you got the weapons in the offense that Cliff Kingsbury has, I'm just sorry, there's no excuse. You got to perform. You got to make the plays. You got to put the points up because that's what they brought him there for. They didn't bring Cliff Kingsbury there because he's a defensive guy. They brought him there because he's an offensive guy. So for them to only score 21 against a Carolina team that, they're okay. To me, this is sad. It says a lot about Arizona. They're not ready to compete at that level yet. They've got something there, but they still got a long way to go. Carolina, I don't know how I feel about them right now. Teddy definitely came out and played a better game this week. They do have a new coach, so they are getting adjusted to a new system. Both offense and defense. And on the defensive side, they don't really have a lot of people there. So for them to hold Arizona to 21, kind of do what they're doing now, time will tell, right? Like they are tied with New Orleans now, 2-2 in the NFC South, followed behind Tampa Bay, who's 3-1. So they still competing for that division, and some of that head-to-head, those head-to-head games are going to be really important. And it's going to be up to Teddy and that offense. If they can tread water while Christian McCaffrey is out, I mean, they could really compete for a playoff spot.
We'll see. Again, the NFC's tough. NFC is tough. I don't know about a playoff spot. I would see the Cardinals in the playoffs before the Panthers. But like you just said, time will tell. This is like I said, an NFC that is very wild, and the NFC as a whole, we have to wait and see how everything pans out because, like you just said, these two teams that are 2-2 right now after 4 weeks, but we'll see what happens in week 8. So we'll see on the Cliff Kingsbury watch as well how you feel about that. Another game that went ahead and made some major news the day afterwards, the Vikings versus the Texans. I actually picked the Texans to win this game because I thought being at home, this is a home game. I know that the Vikings are a very tough team, but it just seems like the last couple of games, especially playing against the Titans, they find a way to lose games that they shouldn't lose, kind of like the Falcons. But I just felt like the Texans were going to find a way with Deshaun Watson and pulling his team to the finish line and being able to get a win. He almost did it this game. He was almost able to get them into at least an overtime, almost to overtime to try and squeak out a win. But the Vikings, of course, won that game. And, of course, the next day following, Bill O'Brien, of course, if you have not heard, Houston fans and Houston supporters have been cheering ever since, and that is their Super Bowl for this year at Fire Bill O'Brien. So let's hear your little take on how you feel about everything that's going on right now.
I mean, for the Vikings, I wouldn't be too excited. I mean, yeah, you won a game. Good job. You beat a team that is horrible, and they had a coach that really none of the players were playing for. Let's just be on it. Call it as it is. Nobody was playing for Bill O'Brien. I'm pretty sure the players were ready to get him up out of there. He is now officially gone. Unfortunately for the Texans and Texans fans, it is not going to get better anytime soon. I don't, as bad as we were just saying, Jacksonville has been kind of lackluster. Next week, you probably lose in that game. Let's just be honest. Gardner Minshew probably going to tear that secondary up. That secondary is bad. I haven't seen one as bad as that in a while. So hopefully with the coaching change, you get some morale boosting from that, and they come out and play for Romeo Cornell. I don't have my hopes up because it's pretty much the same people that was before. So for the Vikings, a little bit of a positive, but I don't see much from them going forward. There was nothing spectacular about that win. It was okay, really.
Yeah, I mean, again, with the Vikings, and this has been their MO for a while now, they do have some really good players on their team, from Dalvin Cook to Jordan Jefferson, who really could be on a watch for Rookie of the Year this year. The defense, you still have Kendricks as a linebacker and also Harrison Smith, who did get ejected from that game for a helmet-to-helmet contact hit. So I'll say this. Because of the leaders they have on that team, especially on the defense side of the ball, I am not counting the Vikings out just yet. I would not be surprised at all if they make a run and we see them in week 14, week 15, really challenging the Green Bay Packers for not the division. I think the Packers have the division, but for at least another playoff spot in the NFC. Again, I'm going to say the Packers. I'm sorry, another NFC team being able to get that second wild card or that first wild card in the NFC.
I don't trust Kirk Cousins.
I don't either, but last year they got him to the playoffs and a playoff win. So again, certain guys have that stand. Look, Kirk Cousins standard right now is you got to get at least back to the playoffs and a playoff win. Same thing with the Titans. I want to see if you want people to take you seriously as the Titans, you have to get back to an AFC Championship game at least. So it's just certain people I'm looking at like, okay, do we take y'all serious? Because again, week 4 does not determine your season. So let's wait it out. Let's see. I don't have too much faith in the Vikings, but for some reason they find a way to galvanize their team and get it together.
All right, before you even keep going,
what's up?
Next week they got Seattle in the Sunday night game. That's a loss. I'm
calling it here first on the sports plug. The Vikings will hand the Seattle Seahawks their first loss of the season. You can shake your head. I've already called dubs this season, and I was right on. People shook their head, and I was right. I'm calling it again. Sunday Night Football. I will double down on it again before the game. The Vikings will beat the Seattle Seahawks.
Does it make a difference that they're playing in Seattle?
It does not, because there are no fans there.
Oh, okay.
We gotta remember. Same way in New Orleans with the Superdome. I think it changes a lot. Same thing with the Vikings. The Vikings opened up against the Packers at home. When they play at home against the Packers, that definitely does disrupt the Packers when it comes to the things that they're able to do. So I feel like with the quote unquote home field advantage, it's not what it used to be this year. So again,
You are a madman.
I am.
Drugs you taking, you need to stop because
Hey,
that's a loss.
my record will prove otherwise, sir. Okay, we out here on these pick'ems looking real good, son.
Okay, they got Atlanta following that, which that's a win.
It should
Probably.
be a win. It should be a win, depending on what Atlanta team show up.
Yeah, that's true.
So
they got a bye week, and then they got the Packers, which they probably gonna lose. So I have them at what, maybe 2-6 going into to week 9. So
we'll see. Time will tell. Like I said, time will tell. You have to just wait and see. Like I said, the Packers looking real good at 4-0. They could be 4-3. After a couple weeks. We'll
2-5, correct. 2-5 going into week 9. So I mean, I don't know about that, man. Possibly, we'll see.
We'll see. Now, this game right here, the Giants versus the Rams. I know this wasn't a game that probably got too many headlines when it comes to the matchup of the teams.
I didn't watch it.
But
I just watched the highlights afterward.
The matchup that everybody definitely probably was looking forward to before the game was Jalen Ramsey versus Golden Tate. And if you don't know the backstory on that, you definitely want to check it out. Well, I'll go ahead and summarize it because I don't know if Ish knows, but I definitely know. So long story short, Jalen Ramsey actually got, Golden Tate's sister pregnant and left her for another chick. Yeah. So
I know that.
Yeah. So Golden Tate had a problem with it. This was a couple months ago before they even met up and exchanged some words on social media. And they already said, "Hey, we'll see y'all in week 4." They saw each other week 4, and Jalen Ramsey made a nice little tackle. And I'll let y'all know again in the future for people that are watching, we plan on making this broadcast a lot better and adding clips. And we're gonna add clips, and we're gonna make sure we show y'all what we saw. But Jalen Ramsey had a nice tackle on Golden Tate. But that was, again, just part 1 of what really happened. They did get into a brawl after the game was over with, when people, everybody do their little, dap each other up, Nah, they got into a nice little brawl, but reports are afterwards, after the game was over with, Jalen Ramsey was actually waiting for him, as old girl would say, come out, meet me outside, how about that? That's pretty much what he was doing. And luckily for everybody, they didn't have to exchange fisticuffs. Also, in NFL report that nobody will be suspended, but fines may be issued. So we'll see how that goes. And hey, family drama. Hey, that's something that it happens to everybody, right? Happens to everybody. All right, Colts and Bears. I don't know who'd you pick in this game going into this one.
Colts and Bears. I definitely had the Colts winning it, although it pains me to say that because I don't really care for Phillip Rivers. I think he has gotten a pass for a couple years now, and I really thought Jacoby Brissett should have kept that job, but they gave it to Phillip Rivers, and he's producing. I guess they're 3-1. I did have them winning because I don't have faith in the Chicago Bears, although they were 3-0. They were the worst 3-0 team that I had ever seen in my life. I mean, how do you make a quarterback change on a undefeated?
When you're 3 undefeated, yeah, that was different for me too.
Yeah.
Usually it's 0-3, but
so it kind of speaks to the situation that they were in. They weren't really playing that great, but they were 3-0 anyway. Whatever, record's 3-1 now. I don't think it was that great of a game. It was all right. I watched a little bit of it and wasn't that entertained. I mean, 19-11, nothing special. Phillip Rivers was decent, 16-29, 190 yards with 1 touchdown. Jonathan Taylor, 17 carries, 68 yards. So, I mean, the offense is doing all right. Their defense is playing really well. That, for me, is going to be interesting because – with the Texans being the dumpster that they are, the AFC South right now is definitely between the Tennessee Oilers and the Colts. And I do have the Oilers winning the division, but
see, you gonna get fined saying the wrong team name. So you gotta be respectful. You gotta say Washington Football Team, and you call my damn team the correct way. There's the Tennessee Titans, sir. Get it correct.
Yeah, the Tennessee Oilers. Now, matter of fact, I'm gonna refer to them as the Houston Oilers because everybody in
Anyways,
Houston gonna try to adopt their team, adopt
anyways,
the Titans back.
you
Since
ain't lying because we winning again. Houston needs a winner, so they gonna
so
find a way to
the
get somebody.
Houston Oilers definitely gonna win that division. But yeah, with this game, I had Colts winning. I wasn't really impressed by anything. It went about how I expected it to go. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it was an offensive struggle as we saw. I really thought Nick Foles would play a little bit better. Only, 26, 42, 249 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Um, Look, here's the deal, and I've said this since day one, and I'm going to keep on saying it. Nick Foles was the best when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. He
I
played.
agree.
He played the best. He was with the best system that he was up under, and he performed the best with the Eagles. And of course, situation was different. He had different offensive coordinators with the Eagles, and everything has changed in the last 3 years since they won that Super Bowl. But my personal, y'all great over there, don't hurt yourself. My personal belief is that if Nick Foles and the Eagles would have stayed together, I would not be surprised if they would have either won back-to-back Super Bowls or at least won 2 out of 3 Super Bowls. So I feel like Nick Foles made a mistake going to Jacksonville. Now he's with the Bears. I respect his career path. I respect everything he's been able to do, the good, the bad, the adversity. But this is going to be a rocky season for the Bears. I mean, 11 points after making this quarterback change. Do you go back to Trubisky? I mean, shit. This is very awkward if you're in the locker room for the Chicago Bears.
Sorry, my daughter can't
No, you
remember.
good. You good. So yeah, like I said, this is very awkward for Chicago Bears in the locker room. I really don't know how they're gonna do or what they're gonna do moving forward. Of course, they're gonna stay with Foles, but I'm not wishing injury upon anybody. But you kind of don't want to, be stuck in this quarterback carousel trying to figure out if you want to keep Foles or Trubisky, and then also kind of say, well, Foles gets hurt, we can kind of easily go back to Trubisky, So it's just rocking a hard place right now for the
To be
Bears.
honest,
Rocking a hard place.
they should have just replaced Trubisky altogether. Like, not do this Nick Foles thing, not do this back and forth thing. Like, just go ahead, draft your new quarterback, and start building from there.
Or you know what you could have did? You could have just drafted, a guy named Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson in the draft. That could have helped, Just saying. Shout out to Chad checking out the broadcast. He says, "What up? What up?" He is a Saints fan. We did just get done talking about the Saints, so you missed out on that one, Chad. But appreciate you for tuning in. Next game, the Bills and the Raiders. I don't know about you, but I am very fond on Josh Allen. I'm loving his progression. I'm loving everything about how he plays on a week by week basis. 24 for 34, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. The beautiful number is 0 interceptions, no turnovers, and that's how you win games. And for Buffalo to go on the road and go to Vegas and win that game, hey, and again, these are no fans right now, but hey, that is a very good thing for the Buffalo Bills to still make people say, hey, we are contenders, not pretenders. Why are you making that face?
I mean, I'm not impressed at all by them going to go beat the Vegas Raiders.
Remember, the Vegas Raiders were 2-0 at one point, and they were thinking that they were hot stuff.
I was not impressed with them when they were 2-0. I'm still not impressed with them. I knew who they were. They are exactly who I thought they were. They're mediocre. They're middle. They're average. I think that they will be somewhere probably around like 8-8 or something, middle of the road team for me. So I'm not impressed by them beating Las Vegas. I am surprised at how close it was. But again, it's the NFL, so that's to be expected. Like you said, Josh Allen, I'm impressed with him. I think he's doing great things. I think everybody there in Buffalo, they should be really, really encouraged by what they're seeing from this team, 4-0. And to go get a weapon like Stephon Diggs.
That's what I was about to get at. Yep.
Has 6 catches, 115 yards. I mean, he has really helped that offense. I mean, last year they were doing it and they only had Cole Beasley and John Brown. You add Stephon Diggs to the weapons. You still got Devin Singletary, who, I mean, he had a good game as well. 18 carries, 55 yards, a touchdown. So, I mean, that offense to me is one of the best. They're definitely up there with some of the better offenses in the league. The defense is a pretty decent defense. Are they going to be able to do it in crunch time when it matters against some of these better teams? They still got the Patriots to play, who's really, that's like their daddy in that division. Probably get them a couple spankings. So if they get the 2 spankings that they normally get in a year, kind of changes my feeling about it. I still, I think Buffalo will win the division. I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. I think Buffalo will win that division. I like the way Josh Allen is playing. Hopefully he steps up in those games, and they could potentially challenge the Ravens and the Chiefs for and the Houston Oilers for the AFC. I think that they could be, and I have those 4 teams right now. Those are my 4 teams that I'm really looking at to say, like, they're my front runners on the AFC.
Now, the reason why I really keep up with the Bills is because over the last 2 seasons for the Tennessee Titan fans, we've had some unfortunate heartbreak losses against the Bills that we probably should have won, but it is what it is. Game of inches, it is what it is. And every time we lose to them, they continuously play well throughout the season, make it to the playoffs, but don't win a playoff game. If you remember last year, they were playing against the Houston Texans and should have won that game. Yep. If it wasn't for a silly lateral that Josh Allen did, which I don't know what he was trying to do, but if it wasn't for him doing that, who knows? Maybe the Bills win that game and go next week to the Chiefs, and who knows what happened. Most likely the Chiefs probably win that game, but who knows? But this is the year for the Chiefs. I'm sorry, for the Bills to show everybody in the league that, hey, we are serious, because like you said, getting a number 1, that's what they needed. They needed a number 1 receiver, and they finally got that with Diggs. And if you are keeping up with Diggs, his route running package right now over 4 weeks is beautiful. Everybody want to talk about Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and all these other route runners. No, go look at Stephon Diggs route running. It's a thing of beauty. All right, that is you know how they talk about the hoop mixtape package and whatnot. That's what they need to do for his route running.
Also, let me say this: it is important to note right now the team's 4-0. If they can somehow find a way to get sneak home field advantage in there, how many teams want to go up to Buffalo playoff time and go play in Buffalo? Let's be honest. Not a lot of people want to go up to Buffalo and play there during the playoffs. So that is going to be something to watch, because if they can somehow sneak away with home field advantage, it could be nice for them at least.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that. We had technical difficulties. Lights went out in my house, so yeah, we're back. All right, my bad. Go ahead and start it back where you left off, Ish.
Oh no, I was just telling if Buffalo can sneak home field advantage, it could be. Not a lot of teams want to go up and play Buffalo in the playoffs. So,
yes, I definitely agree. And let's be real. Buffalo has not been good in a long time. So a lot of people don't even really know what Buffalo looks like during the wintertime unless they play a regular season game where it's snowy and all that good stuff. And they only really think of playoff games up there as in Foxborough. Nobody wants to go to Buffalo to go play a playoff game. You do not want to do that. I promise you, you don't.
The Oilers, maybe.
But again,
looks like the lights went out again. I don't know if you guys are still seeing me in the broadcast, but just having a little bit of technical difficulties on X's end. So, well, we're going to wait for X. While we are waiting, you can comment in the chat. Who do you think right now, what are your early predictions to win the Super Bowl? I mean, I am still going with the Chiefs. That might be because that is my adopted home, and so I am a Kansas City fan. So I definitely have the Chiefs winning right now. But who do you have winning the Super Bowl? I mean, there are the Ravens. There are the Packers. Packers are looking good right now. Um, some people would go as far as saying uh, that you could see the Bills, like we were just talking about the Bills and the Raiders. Some people, I have seen a couple people saying the Bills may be able to compete and win the Super Bowl this year. Time will only tell. I just don't see anybody as of right now getting past Kansas City. That's going to be a tough task, especially if you have to go to Kansas City. If fans are allowed back, I mean, they have been pretty loud there at Arrowhead without fans in the building. So with fans in the building, it could be uh, even bigger and a lot worse for teams going there. Seattle as well. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. If you start getting fans back in the building, Seattle, who's currently undefeated, not a lot of teams in the NFC are going to want to go to Seattle. Is a large outbreak going on right now in Wisconsin. So with Green Bay, it does not look like they'll be having fans anytime soon. That could go until the end of the season into playoffs. That does change Lambeau Field. I don't know a lot of teams that want to go to Lambeau when there are fans there, but without the fans, that makes it a level playing ground. New Orleans, we talked about them earlier. If fans don't get back in the stadiums, then same situation with New Orleans. So I'm curious to see who people have as their early Super Bowl favorites. It is going to be interesting to see the fan situation. I think that plays a lot into it. That is why I'm still going with the Chiefs. I think in a neutral field without fans, they probably win it. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. It looks like X has lost power and may not be able to join the show. So we probably go ahead and end it there. Again, we are sorry. If we're able to work things out, we may jump back on. But until then, thank you so much for tuning into the Sports Plug in our weekly NFL review. We may be back on later tonight or tomorrow. And also be on the lookout. We do have something in the works for those that are in the Houston area regarding high school sports. We are working on a high school show where we will do a weekly review of the games and predictions for the next week. So keep an eye out on that and stay tuned because the announcement may be coming soon. I don't know. Anyway, until next time, guys, thank you so much for joining, and we will see you later. Peace. So it looks like X
Oh,
will rejoin the show.
all right. Sorry about that little technical difficulties, but hey, welcome to technology. It is what it is. All right, let's finish this back up right quick. Did you finish up your Raiders spill?
Oh yeah, I
Your
finished
Bills
it
spill?
up. I finished that up.
All right. Let's go ahead and finish this up with Sunday Night Football. Eagles and 49ers, like I said to you guys earlier in the show, this was another game that I went ahead and picked, and I was right. I went ahead and picked the winless Eagles to beat the 49ers, which they did. Because, like you said, you can call me crazy, but you got to call me right when you call me crazy.
That was a hard choice. They don't have anybody.
How is it? That's not the fact. That's not the first of all, that's not the point. The 49ers at home, you have the Eagles going from the East Coast to the West Coast, playing a West Coast team, and also the Eagles have injuries as well.
No.
I'm just
they
saying.
Still got their starting quarterback. I mean, come on now. Let's just be honest. San Francisco had to use 2 quarterbacks.
They did. Yep.
The fact that
I was about to get that as well.
The fact that they were still in that game speaks to the state of the Philadelphia Eagles right now.
They were leading. That's what I'm saying. The Niners were leading at a point to where you have to kind of admit that the Niners, even though with all the injuries, they are still a decent team, and I think they are still going to compete in the NFC, especially when they get a couple of those guys back. Not everybody is out for the year.
Yeah,
not everybody's out for the year. So
Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. That right there, I actually enjoy that receiving core. Adding that to George Kittle, that looks good.
I think they said Kittle. I think they said Kittle's out for the year too.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, I think he's out for the year. So that hurts them. But I mean, when they're all there healthy, that is a very dangerous team. Even with just Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk now.
Yeah, that was a nice play, of course, jumping over folks.
Oh yeah. So I don't know. You're right. San Francisco does look good, but I thought with the injuries, I didn't think they were going to win the game. I thought it was easy to pick the Philadelphia Eagles, although they look woeful. Carson Wentz has been bad. He's been really bad. At what point does Hurts start breathing down his neck? I doubt that will happen, but I'd like to see it.
Yeah, from the Eagles faithful, from what I hear, hey, they're gonna ride or die with Wentz at the moment. Hey, that's from the Eagle faithful that I hear. I haven't heard anybody that Eagle fans saying that they want to go with Hurts just yet. Because let's be real. I mean, if you take Wentz out and you throw in Hurts, are you pretty much taking? I'm sorry. Could you really mess up both quarterbacks' careers in 1 year? So it's kind of like, and I'm not saying Jalen Hurts can mess up his career in 1 year. I'm just saying an injury, a freak accident, something could happen to where you could hurt Wentz and also Hurts in the same year and not have no quarterback move to the future. So the Eagles, they're gonna have to figure out, because again, the division is wide open. We talked about the Cowboys. They could still win the division. They could make a run at it. They just have to figure out moving forward, what are they going to do as a franchise. So, all right, let's go ahead and wrap it up with these 2 Monday Night Football games. Of course, due to COVID, if you've, of course, been paying attention, this game had to get moved from Sunday to Monday due to Cam Newton's positive COVID test. So that made the Patriots have to start Brian Hoyer at quarterback, who played absolutely horrible, and had to get pulled after 3 quarters, and they finally put in who the Patriot faithful will call Baby Goat, Jarrett Stidham, which I don't see any Baby Goat at all in them, but hey, that's what they call him. And the Patriots and the Chiefs, of course, played a pretty decent game. The Chiefs did what they did, and finally, of course, took control of that game and won that game pretty handily. Is there anything in that game that you saw that you wowed you, or that surprised that I guess you could say that kind of we weren't surprised in when it comes to seeing both teams?
Bill Belichick, man. Bill Belichick, man, he is one hell of a coach. He did a great job against that Kansas City offense early in the game. I like how they did Tony Romo and his partner did spotlight how tough they were playing Travis Kelce. I know Travis Kelce ended up having, a couple really good receptions, but early on they had him bottled up. And normally Travis Kelce, people can't stop him. So It
Well,
was good to
especially against the Patriots. When they said against the Patriots, he actually had some of his worst games because, as you said, Belichick makes sure that they game plan for him.
Yeah, I mean, so it was interesting to see that first half and how low scoring it was. However, I think it just reiterated that the Chiefs right now are the team to beat. They still are the team to beat. Uh, it's going to be hard to beat them because it's just so hard. They got so many weapons, and you add Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and it just makes it
Allaire.
even worse. So
No, I definitely agree, and I'll add this as well with the Chiefs. Um, they are who we thought they were. You know, they are. This is their fourth season in a row, starting 4-0. First team to ever do that. Put another feather in Patrick Mahomes' hat for that. Um, but I will say this because me and Adrian talked about this morning that I don't think people are really paying attention to that they need to. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are going on their Kobe and Shaq run when it comes to when they left the Lakers, and people thought, "Oh, you need each other. Y'all need this. Y'all need that." And Shaq said, "No, I'm up out of here because y'all want Kobe." Okay, Shaq went and proved it on his own. He went and won a championship with the Heat, and Kobe went and did what he did. Right. So right now, you see Tom Brady doing really good things in Tampa right now after 4 weeks, and you see what Bill Belichick is doing. And again, the record doesn't show really how good of a job Bill Belichick is doing with the pieces that he has. But if you look what Bill Belichick is doing with the Patriots, I mean, let's be real. Maybe with both of them together, they really do. Of course, as we saw, that's the reason why they won 6 championships. And with them being apart from each other, we have to give it up to both of them. Maybe both of them are just that damn good, and them being together made them really that much better. But being apart, they still are good because I know everybody's waiting to see. Well, Brady needed Belichick. Belichick needed Brady. Both of them, pretty damn good.
yeah, yeah. I think they both are good in their own right. You're right.
Yeah. You have to give them props, man. You have to. All right, let's finish up this show with again the last game of Monday night and the last game of Week 4 for this week. Falcons and the Packers. Of course, this was not a game that I was going to make that choice on. I'm picking the Falcons. I went ahead and went with that bad man, as Andrew Von Wiesenthal would say. Aaron Rodgers is the truth this year. Yes, he is. And hey, Aaron Rodgers doing what Aaron Rodgers does. 27 for 33, 327 and 4 touchdowns, no picks. Hey, I mean, you can't get much better than that when it comes to Aaron Rodgers on that Monday Night Football, right?
Oh, not at all. I mean, he played lights out. They definitely went out there. They made a statement. Although it was against Atlanta, so that's kind of a knock against them because Atlanta hasn't been that hot. And I mean, it's kind of said something. Atlanta didn't even come out. Normally they come out hot and then they lose it in the fourth. They didn't even have a chance in this game. Like it wasn't even close early on. I think that it is time for Dan Quinn to go. He is supposed to be a defensive-minded coach, and for what has been going on there, I think they need a new voice in there. And I wouldn't be surprised if, maybe by the time they hit the bye week, he is gone, depending on how things go moving forward. But Aaron Rodgers, the NFC and the NFL are definitely on notice. Green Bay is coming out, and they are hungry, man. They are hungry.
Oh, yeah.
They are really coming for y'all. I really don't want to see. I don't want to see the NFC have to go through Green Bay, to be honest. And right now, it's looking like it's going to go through Green Bay and Seattle.
Or Seattle, yeah. We don't. But again, though, the only real home field will probably be Green Bay due to the weather. Depending on what happens in Seattle, it might be some rain, it might be some wind and whatnot. That will help Seattle players. But at the end of the day, both teams are going to have to play through the rain. But when it comes to that frozen tundra, I've been watching Packer games of frozen tundra since the 90s, and I've only seen a couple of quarterbacks be able to go in there and come out of there with a win. That's Michael Vick and that's Colin Kaepernick.
Yep.
Other than that, a lot of quarterbacks go in there and they lose. It's just It is what it is. So I agree, man. If the NFC have to go through Green Bay or Seattle, it's going to be real tough for somebody to make an upset. I'll say this with the Falcons. I actually said that Dan Quinn would get fired this morning. It didn't happen, of course. But somebody did tell me, and I apologize on the name, but somebody did say that, because I'm looking at right now, they play the Panthers next week. Panthers are 2-2. The Falcons will be at home. If they lose that game and go 0-5, I think that would be the resignation papers that Dan Quinn will finally get from the Atlanta franchise to go ahead and have his walking papers.
I actually let me hold on. I'm pulling up the full schedule because I want to double check, but I don't know. So they got the Panthers, they got the Vikings, and then they got the Lions, and then they play the Panthers again. I think he actually makes it, even if they lose to the Panthers. I think he makes it all the way to week 8. He makes it to week 7. And then, if depending on how they feel before they play the Panthers again, I think that's where he probably gets the axe. I think he'll make it past Carolina, even if they lose. I think they may play Minnesota pretty close. Probably even beat Minnesota. Probably beat Detroit. And then around there, if they lose either Minnesota or Detroit, somewhere in there, that's probably where he gets that axe.
All right, hey, we'll check back in next week and we'll see what happens, because I have them. If they lose to the Panthers, it's a wrap.
You think so?
I think it is a
0-5.
Look, 0-5 at all that talent. I mean, we did just see the meme about Julio being a guy with his career being wasted. Him, McCaffrey. I can't remember the other two. Deshaun Watson and Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. But some people will say otherwise, saying that, hey, he's had a great career. He's went to a Super Bowl. He's done this and done that. But let's be real. Just imagine Julio Jones playing for Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady. Just imagine if he actually had somebody that had a winning and killer instinct, the way, or almost not even just that. Now, it might not even be the quarterback. It also could be the actual coaching aspect of things, not putting the players in the right position to succeed on the football field when it comes to running the ball when needs to be ran. When the ball needs to be ran. Throwing the ball, of course, when the ball needs to be thrown to the right guys, not throwing the ball to Julio when he's double covered. It's just one of those things where, hey, the Atlanta Falcons will have to figure it out on their own moving forward, and we'll be on the Dan Quinn watch. We'll see what happens when it comes to these coaches getting fired or staying there. So, anything else you got to say to the people before we get up out of here?
No, I already alluded to the high school show. Again, be on the lookout for that. Announcement may be coming soon. We'll see.
Yes, I kind of wanted to keep that under wraps, but I appreciate. Hey, it's all good. I'm not mad at you bringing it up. I appreciate you for bringing it up, and we'll also, of course, talk about it a little bit more in the future. Definitely stay tuned, because we do have some other segments coming up, and especially if you are in the Cy-Fair area, we might be a lot closer than you think. So be on the watch. We'll be out here in these streets, and we'll see you guys soon on the next episode of Sports Plug.